In EOTA, we take great pride in delivering high-quality technical specifications to the construction industry. In this video, we've gathered valuable tips from our Citation Task Force PT16 that will help you get EADs cited in a timely manner and with less effort. Stay tuned for some bonus tips at the end of the video. In most cases, the starting point for an EAD is an innovative construction product that needs to be thoroughly assessed. As a result, there is a risk that parts of the product descriptions slip into the definition of the scope, as in this example from real life. Limitations to the size, dimensions, temperature range, material or other characteristics of the product or kit may be technically necessary, especially when the assessment methods are only valid within certain limits. In this case, the limitations need to be included in the scope. If not, leave them out. This way, the EAD will be the most useful to the industry. EADs can come into play because a product is not fully covered by a harmonized standard. In this case, a short justification should be given to show why the EAD is needed. Once more, the starting point is the assessment methods, so our recommendation is to outline which assessment methods are missing from the standard or are not applicable to the product at hand. Explain how and why the new assessment methods are technically relevant. Do they open up new applications or intended uses? Do they add to the level of performance of the product? Do they broaden the market with a new product? If you are working on the basis of a harmonized standard, the EAD needs to include a complete and detailed description of the assessment methods. Be as specific as possible on test methods. Here's a checklist you may find useful. Whether you refer, for example, to a test standard for the assessment method as a whole or to parts of it, there are 3 points to pay attention to. Indicate the exact clause or exact method you are referring to. Check that all details of the test method needed are given in the test standard. Date your standards correctly. Let's have a look in practice. Jane is writing an EAD. To be successful, she is extra careful with the description of the test method, which is based on a standard. She writes, "In some cases, you may need to refer to several test methods, depending on the product variant or installation situation. Dating your standards in the references is sufficient. For harmonized standards, use the version cited in the official journal of the European Union, even if it is not the most recent version published. Above all, make sure to have your test standards at your fingertips." Regarding the test setup, Jane simply writes, "The test pieces shall be assembled in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions." Now Jane is almost done, but not quite. EADs need to include a standard test configuration that can be used as a default in case the manufacturer's instructions are not available. Here is what we recommend. Include a reference to the manufacturer's instructions. Provide a default test setup. This could be a test setup used for the ETA at hand, test setup that is commonly used in the industry, worst-case scenario test setup. In many cases, it's a good idea to include a reference to the manufacturer's instructions. This allows for alternative test setups to be specified in the ETA. Make sure also to provide a default test setup. This could be the setup you are planning to use in the ETA, or a configuration that is common in the industry. If you are using a worst-case scenario testing approach, state this clearly in the EAD and specify that the results of this test also apply in more favourable conditions. When drafting an EAD, it is essential to make it clear that you are giving instructions that must be followed. Do not leave any doubt about the normative character of what you are saying. Avoid using the word should. Use shall instead. Usually, EAD results are on an open scale. No EU-wide minimum requirements apply. The only exception is thresholds. If, and only if, a valid threshold level exists, the result needs to be given as a pass or fail. Do not refer to member state regulations. Evaluating or commenting on assessment results on the basis of national requirements is outside the remit of the EAD. And that's all for this video. We hope it helped, and all the best for your next EAD.